this young lady on a dating app. You know, we hit it off. She was attractive, and the conversation was good. You know, we talked about a lot of different things. You know, I felt that we had a few things in common, um, and I was like excited, you know, to meet her. So yeah, so we met up, and it was our first meetup. I wouldn't even really call it a date, but I was just like, wow, you know, I just loved her energy. She's very ambitious, like I said, pretty and all that stuff. But yeah, weeks go by, you know, we're getting to know each other. I'm taking her out to different places, you know, different environments, things like that. You know, I got her some flowers, and everything's, you know, seeming to go good. Now, when I probably reached like the seventh date mark, I was kind of like scratching my head a little bit too, because she mentioned a couple things, right? She mentioned one thing about like grand gestures and stuff like that. Now, most people that know me, like I'm a very simple guy. Like I like romance and stuff like that, but she just kept making emphasis on like grand gestures and stuff like that. So she's a grand person, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like, you know, I'm still learning her, right? So, uh, didn't really think nothing of it at the time. And then she also mentioned, you know, because, you know, we're getting to know each other. She's like, yeah, I don't really, because I think we talked about like just, we got on the subject of cooking and cleaning. And she was like, yeah, you know, I would outsource, you know, like cooking and cleaning. So she says that, and I'm not really tripping too hard on it because I'm not one of those guys that's like expecting my woman, oh yeah, you got to cook and clean and just do like this all this domestic stuff at the house, because you know I'm very much a domestic type of person. Like I cook, clean, and do stuff as well.
I see so many red flags in this conversation already. Already. I see. Listen, I think that we're going to talk about this on After Hours tonight. This is going to be the entire After Hours is this conversation because this is the perfect conversation of how you are supposed to operate within a relationship. Number one, first red flag is meeting somebody on an app. Do not go on dating apps. It is the worst thing. Second red flag. Oh man, I'm expecting grand gestures. What the hell does that mean? She's seen you coming a mile away, my boy, a mile away. Third red flag is, oh, I'm going to outsource that. Listen, it's not about whether or not you can outsource it or pay for it. She lazy. This ain't hey, I expect my woman to cook and clean. We all should be cooking and cleaning, but you're lazy. And so basically, how you start off is how you got to continue to ascend. And if this is the way you starting off, it was going to be bad in the first place.
And I think you know, we continue talking about that, and she mentions like, oh, you know, like I hate the patriarchal system. Like I'm like, okay, cool. You know, again,
Okay, cool.
just kind of like at this point, I'm starting to like put two and two together. I feel like I'm like, dang, she.
He should have got out of this immediately. Right after all of those red flags, she laying out the markers for you, dog. She's telling you, and now if you continue to go down this path, because see, I'm not even blaming her at this point. If you go down this path of simping, then this is why we call it simping, or trying to look for the approval of women and all of that. I don't care what she look like. I don't care how bad she is. None of that matters, bro. Character, making sure y'all equally yoked, you are in for a world of hurt. She don't like patriarchy, which means that she don't like structure. She don't like instruction. She don't like being told what to do. She want to do what she want to do. So she's a feminist, right? She don't like cooking and cleaning. So she lazy. She's expecting grand gestures, and you still sitting there having a conversation with you. Where do you think this is gonna go?
She's very hands off in this whole dating process, because by now, like we're like almost 2 months in. I've taken her on several dates. She hasn't like even offered like or even brought me like a
Jesus.
beer or something, just something like small to just show
Boy,
like
she using
appreciation.
you and playing you for a
Nothing,
fool.
none of that has occurred, you know. And that's kind of the stuff I kind of look out for too, like when I'm, you know, dating somebody, just something
He's too
small,
nice of a guy. This is such a nice guy, and he don't know no better. He's such a nice guy.
just to show like, hey, you know, here's a beer. I know you. This is your, you know, one of your favorite beers or something like that, or some French fries or something. But nothing to that point. And I was like, all right, cool. So I asked her, like, are you a little bit more different in a relationship? Like, do you show up differently in a relationship?
Nope.
And she's kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do girlfriend things for someone I'm not in a relationship with. And mind you, I'm doing like a lot, like, to, uh, kind of prove myself
Whoever they are is who they're gonna be. They don't change once they get into a relationship or to get married. They become more of what they already are.
to her. So anyway, I was like, all right. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I really like this girl, and I've been doing so many different things, and my thought process is like, all right, I can at least give her the title and see if maybe there's a change or anything like that. So I went ahead and asked her to be my girlfriend. So yeah, so check this out. So I knew that she liked things like grand gestures. So I had this idea. I was like, you know what?
We're gonna review this whole video on After Hours tonight.
Mind you, I've never done this before. I've never done this, but I was like, let me do a girlfriend proposal, right? So I was like, let me do a girlfriend proposal.
Did he even touch her yet?
And again, I'm like, all right, so I had made reservations to this dinner, and I had ordered this shirt that said, "Will you be my girlfriend?" Right,
Being
or just
romantic.
to make it cute, make it fun. I had bought the shirt. I had got this. I had went on Printify to like get this little necklace made with like a picture that she really likes about herself.
He doing all of these things, which is not a bad thing for the right person. He doing all of these things for a person that ain't giving no effort towards him whatsoever. Probably making TikToks about him.
What else did I do? I had ordered a bouquet of flowers, all that, right?
God.
And I'm like, all right, cool. I think she's gonna love this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the day comes. The date went really well. The food was amazing. And I'm just like kind of like excited because I know that I'm about to ask her, in this, kind of cute way that I've never done before. That, I felt like I put some effort into it a little bit. So, we made it home, and I tell her to like, close her eyes, right? Because I got the shirt under my jacket. And I tell her to close her eyes. And I tell her to open it. I got the shirt. I gave her a marker to check the box or whatever. And I gave her some flour. I gave her the flowers. And then I gave her the necklace, and I had some wine. And she checked. She said yes, all that. So I'm like, all right, cool. That was, I feel like that was pretty cool, right? But no. The very next day, I'm working, and she's like, hey, I just wanted to say, I appreciate, you're so kind, you're so sweet, but I kind of, I didn't really like those flowers. Like, I think she told me she liked roses or something like that, right? Now, mind you, the flowers I got, they weren't necessarily roses. Like, they were like an assortment of flowers. And at the time,
This is so
I had
dumb.
ran into Whole Foods to kind of get something that
Run, my
looked
boy.
nice. Because I
Run, my
didn't want to
boy.
not give her flowers. And I was like, at the very least, I still wanted to give her flowers, even though they weren't roses. So she makes a point about the roses. She's like, yeah, and I like big bouquets. Like, and I'm like,
So basically, she wants you to spend a bag and she wants you to be a sucker. I hate even going through this right now. I feel like I'm suffering for him. I feel like suffering for him. He is catching L after L after L, and then he wasting his time and his money and his resources. And she training him. I ain't mad at her. She training him to be a sucker. Slimmy gonna have a field day with this one.
I mean, like, this was a decent sized bouquet. I got them, from Whole Foods. She's like, yeah, I like the big bouquet. I was like, okay. She's telling me this. I'm listening. And she also mentioned just like basically saying it wasn't grand enough. So I'm like, dang, like, so that kind of hurt me a little bit. That definitely stung.
Oh.
Especially being that like, damn, like I'm not this type, I'm doing something
You
new,
don't want to put a garment.
and she just was kind of like basically saying she was unimpressed by it. Like, I mean, she acted like it at the time, but after the fact, she was acting like she wasn't impressed by it. So I'm like, So
Playing this dude.
anyway, that weekend
Probably
we
got
basically didn't
another
see each
dude
other
out
for a
there
full
too.
week after that because I had family coming and everything. So I'm like, we talking, we talked about it, and I actually told her, I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm being like,
Used.
performative, but I definitely considered how, the things that you like, and try to incorporate it. You know, I thought I was being thoughtful. You know, I thought she would at least, you
There's
know,
too many
appreciate
good
the effort.
guys
You
out
know,
here,
like,
bro.
oh, that was cute. He tried. And I also mentioned too, like, that what she's asking for, I'm pretty sure over time it would get better, right?
This is all
So
bad.
anyway, I'm like, hey, I want to see you again. So I planned our first date as a couple at this candle making class. I scheduled it, and you know everything. I thought everything was fine. You know, we go to the class, we made the candles, and then we went to Cheesecake Factory after that. You know, I was surprised. You know, because I actually love cheesecake, and she wanted to get cheesecake, so we go there and everything's fine. And then she brings up this video. I wish I forget the name of this lady. I think her name is like Visha Vash. She made this video about like alignment and that like the guy that you're aligned with will just know certain things. Like he's
Social media, in a lot of ways, has educated us, and it has ruined 10 times over. Ruined social. It has ruined relationships, and y'all need y'all parents in y'all life. Good God.
just gonna he's not gonna be a mind reader, but he'll just know whatever he does is gonna align with, you know, your thing. And I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but I mean, we're still getting to know like each other like in the beginning stages. So I'm like, whatever effort I made, like I definitely tried my best to, you know, include how, you know, you would have felt about it. But anyway, long story short, she brings up this video and she's like, yeah, I don't know, like alignment and all this stuff. Like, how do you feel about that? And at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know where she's going with this.
Get out of there,
Then she
bro.
brings up an example about like a
Go get you
ring.
a
She's
normal.
like, well, if I'm aligned with somebody and I tell him I like this ring, he shouldn't ask me why. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I kind of see what you're saying because, you know, asking why in that moment could be a buzzkill. But I'm like maybe he's asking why to figure out like the story behind why you like this particular ring. And she's like, no, why? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway,
I'm just waiting on him to say, all right, you know what? I'm done, and this ain't gonna work.
long story short, later that evening, I told her I made it home, and basically the next day, I get a text message saying, "Oh yeah, this is not gonna work." She pretty much breaks up with me, right? And I'm just so dumbfounded by the whole.
That's the best thing that could have ever happened to him. The best thing that could have ever happened to this guy. Man, if he don't turn into a superhero and the biggest villain in the world, oh my God. I can't wait to get the other the crew's reaction to this one. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. Ah.